We are live. Hi, everybody. Welcome to this live English lesson. We'll get started as soon as I confirm that everything is working properly. So far, it seems like everything is working properly, but you never know. It's always good to check and then double check to make sure that everything is working properly. Yeah, everything is working the way it is supposed to work. That makes me happy. Well, hello and welcome to this English lesson where we're going to talk about 30 different fun and quirky idioms. If you don't know what quirky means, it means unique or strange or a little bit funny. These are idioms that will be familiar to you, but also some of these will probably be brand new. There's probably 10 in here that you'll know, and there's probably 20 that you probably don't know. So you'll have to see as we go through this English lesson which ones you know and which ones you don't know. But they should be fun. So once again, welcome to this English lesson about fun and quirky idioms. Hey, I got some stuff popping up on my screen here. Let me just double check to make sure there are no problems. Seems like everything's working the way it's supposed to. Well, hello to Sophia, Key Park, John George, and also John Wedge, Aerosmith 77, Key Park. Let me scroll back. Uliana, Freddie Wolf, Cy Sandy, Lahua. Let me go back a little further. Did I say Freddie Wolf? Probably. Rosanja, Amina, Bridget. I'm just going back to all the people that I said hi to earlier in the chat. And then welcome to the 6 new members who joined overnight. It's always fun when I wake up in the morning to see new people who have joined the channel. Hi to Alanur, Fabian. Looks like Nightbot is here doing its job. That's good. Good morning to Andre Pradipnang. Ismail is here as well. Good to see all of you. Familiar faces and new faces. So if you are new, let me explain how this works. I'm going to teach an English lesson live. It's 8:31 a.m. Eastern Standard Time as I speak on February 6th about fun and quirky idioms. If you have a question, there is a link in the description below that you can use to submit your question. And there's also a link pinned in the chat, wherever the chat is on your screen. So please use that to ask a question. I'll teach for 10 minutes. I'll answer questions for 10 minutes, and then I'll teach, answer questions, teach. I'll kind of go back and forth every 10 minutes until we're done. Please ask questions related to the lesson. Let's keep this a pure lesson about fun and quirky idioms. That just helps everyone who is here to learn English. You should also use the chat for fun conversations in English with the people who are there. There are many friendly people in the chat. Please enjoy hanging out with them as I teach English. And then one last thing before we get started. There will be a live lesson tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it will be a Q&A lesson where you can answer any questions that you want. But here we go. Let's get started. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. Now, I haven't actually heard anyone say this saying recently. And in fact, when people say it, they often only say the first part. They'll say, an apple a day. And basically what this means is that if you eat healthy, you'll be healthy. It's basically an idiom that's saying, if you decide to eat fruit, if you decide to eat vegetables, if you decide to eat things that are good for you, you will be healthy and you won't need to go see the doctor. So an apple a day keeps the doctor away. If you eat healthy, you'll be healthy. Now, this isn't 100% true. I mean, you can eat an apple a day and still get sick sometimes, but there is a little bit of truth to this. Actually, maybe a lot of truth to this. If you eat well, if you take care of yourself, you'll probably be sick less often. So an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Hold your horses. Be patient. Wait a moment. This is one of the first phrases that an English learner asked me about more than 25 years ago. I was tutoring someone, a French speaker, and they asked me, what does hold your horses mean? And I said, oh, it just means like slow down or stop or be patient. If Jen says, I have my boots on, I have my coat on, let's go shopping now, I might say, hold your horses. I need to finish some work. I just need a minute to finish something before we leave. So hold your horses basically means be patient, wait a moment, just take a minute. I'll be with you shortly. Hold your horses, be patient, wait a moment. To spill the beans means to reveal a secret. The example I often give is if you are planning a surprise party. If I was planning a surprise party for my mom's birthday, and if my sister told my mom, hey, we're having a party for you this week, then my sister will have spilled the beans. When you spill the beans, it means you reveal something that was supposed to be a secret. You don't want to spill the beans, especially if it's about a surprise party. A surprise party is supposed to be a surprise for the person who the party is for. So you don't want to spill the beans before the event happens. To spill the beans, to reveal a secret. To hit the nail on the head, to say the right answer. If I asked you right now, what does a green check mark mean? And if someone said, oh, that means you got the answer right, I would say you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly the right answer. Or let's say at work, your boss says there's a problem that we need to fix, but we're not sure what the problem is. You could say, I think the problem is Jim. He doesn't work hard enough. Your boss might say, you hit the nail on the head. Jim is the problem. Poor Jim. I often, in my examples, use the name Jim. I should probably pick another name at some point. But to hit the nail on the head is to say the right answer, to say the right thing at the right time. To bark up the wrong tree, accusing or looking in the wrong place. So when you are barking up the wrong tree, it might mean you are saying someone did something and they didn't do it. Or you are looking for something and it's the wrong place. Let me use the police as an example. If the police came to my house and said, a snowmobile was stolen, Bob, and we want to investigate you, I might say, you're barking up the wrong tree. I went to bed last night at 9:30 and I slept until 6:30 this morning. I did not steal any snowmobiles. You're barking up the wrong tree. It was probably Jim. It's probably Jim who stole the snowmobile. Go ask him about it. So when you bark up the wrong tree, you might be accusing someone of doing something, or you might be just looking in the wrong place for something. To bark up the wrong tree. To pull someone's leg means to lie, not tell the truth in a joking way. So if I said to Jen, if Jen came home after shopping and I said, while you were gone, your dad called and he bought us season's tickets to go see the Blue Jays. Jen would be like, what? Are you serious? And then I would say, nah, I'm just joking. In that situation, you would say that I decided to pull Jen's leg. I was pulling her leg. Basically, I decided to lie. I said something that was not true, but it was meant to be a joke or for fun. If I said to all of you, hey, tomorrow I'm going to do a 6-hour live stream. And then I said, no, I'm just kidding. I'm pulling your leg. It basically means I'm just joking. By the way, I would love to do like a live stream marathon someday, but I would need help. I would need 2 people because you would need to go back and forth, right? If you did it for that long. To go off the rails means to lose control or stop behaving normally. So you can use this to talk about something at work. You could say, we're working on the new project, but it started to go off the rails. We don't have enough money. We aren't going to be finished in time. Things are going wrong. We've lost control of the project. You could also say your cousin Jim has started to go off the rails. He just sits on his couch eating pizza and chips, apparently. And he doesn't go to work. His life is starting to go off the rails. So you can kind of see where this comes from. Like a train is on railroad tracks, it's on rails. And when the train goes off the rails, that's a problem. And so we've started to use this phrase to describe things in life that are similar, to go off the rails. The project at work is starting to go off the rails. Cousin Joe, he's lost his job. He just sits around at home. His life is starting to go off the rails, starting to go badly. To be on thin ice means to be close to facing consequences for bad behavior. If you were late for work 5 days in a row, you'd be on thin ice. Your boss at some point is going to talk to you about that, and you might even get fired. Your boss might decide, hey, this is not acceptable. We don't want you to work here anymore. I have this picture of a student working with a teacher, or maybe this might be his grandpa, where they're basically saying, hey, you're behaving badly. This is your last warning. You're on thin ice, young man. If you put that book on your head one more time, I'm going to kick you out of the classroom. So to be on thin ice means to be close to being in trouble, to be close to facing consequences for bad behavior. To throw in the towel simply means to quit, to give up. If you are thinking about a professional athlete, after playing for 7 years or 10 years, they might decide to throw in the towel. They might decide to quit doing that job. So I think this comes from boxing. If you have a towel, I think the boxing coach can throw the towel in the ring to say the match is over. By the way, I should explain some of the literal meaning, shouldn't I? If you're on thin ice, the ice can break and you can fall in, and that's where that phrase comes from. To throw in the towel, I think, is a boxing term, but it simply means to quit. To miss the boat means to lose your chance. If there are tickets for an Ed Sheeran concert and you try to get some, but they're sold out, you have lost your chance to buy tickets. You have missed the boat. Often when a popular singer comes to Toronto, I don't even try to get tickets because I know I'm just going to miss the boat anyways. When the World Series was in Toronto last fall, if I tried to get tickets the one day and I missed the boat, I didn't get them. So it means to lose your chance. It means to miss out on something that is happening. Hey, let's look at some questions. Looks like there's 5 or 6 in the forum. Let me pull those up. Let me get a sip of water as well. This is from Ayat. Good morning, Sir Bob. Sir Bob, it's nice, very respectful. You are doing well. I want to ask you, is there any difference between these two words, thrifty and frugal? Maybe a slight difference, but they both definitely mean someone who doesn't like to spend money. I would say when you're thrifty, it means you're good at buying things. You're good at shopping and getting good deals when you're thrifty. It also means you don't like to spend money. When you're frugal, though, it's more like you don't want to buy anything. He's very frugal. He doesn't go to McDonald's. He doesn't buy fast food. Whereas you could say he's very thrifty. When he goes to McDonald's, he just gets a small hamburger. So they both reflect people who like to save money. Okay, from Judith. So Judith says, hi, Bob. I know what quirky means, but could you explain? The world is intertwined with a sex activity in my dictionary. Thank you. So just to quickly explain, there are 2 different words that sound the same. Quirky means like funny, a little bit strange. And then you might be thinking of a different word that starts with a K. So quirky is definitely, like, you could say that guy's really quirky. That's totally okay to say. Ask me in the comments. I'll give a better explanation. From Kuzo, excuse me, Teacher Bob. Does hold your horses have the same meaning as hold the phone? Sort of. Hold the phone means, yeah, hold your horses means you need to slow down. Hold the phone means we should all slow down. Here, let me try to give an example. If I had someone working on the farm and they were going too fast, I might say, hold your horses. Let me put this box in the van first. But if we were working together and I had an idea and I wanted both of us to stop, I might say, hold the phone. I have a better idea. So slightly different, I think, for sure. Let's see here. I'm just scrolling through the chat to see what people are talking about, and I will get to the next question here. From Tosha, is there any other way to say something is funny? You could say it's hilarious. You could say it's funny, it's hilarious, it's really funny. I think there's 4 different words for saying something's funny, but I'm only thinking of hilarious. Maybe in the chat, people can add a few. From Judith, hi Bob, how often do you use these quirky idioms at home or at work? Thank you. So I heard the idiom to hit the nail on the head on the radio the other day. I heard the idiom to be on thin ice on the news. I haven't heard an apple a day keeps the doctor away for a very long time. I've heard spill the beans in the last week, to go off the rails. Yeah, these are very, very, very common for the most part. Yes, good question though. And then from Cornfield, hi Bob, how do I know when I can use these idioms when speaking? I appreciate your help. So here's the advice I always give for English learners. You don't need to use these idioms right now, but you need to know what they mean if an English speaker uses them. So I wouldn't worry too much about using these idioms. What I would worry about is make sure you know the meaning. So if you're having a conversation and someone uses the idiom, you understand what they're saying. And then after a while, you will naturally start to use them yourself. So number 1, you don't need to use them right away. It's similar to phrasal verbs. You really need to understand them, but you don't necessarily have to use them right away. So just do that and you will be set. From Unsel, hi Unsel. Hi, Mr. Bob. I can't join today. It's one of those days. I understand. Just wanted to say hello and wish you a great live stream. Have fun. You're awesome. Bye. Yeah, have a good day there, Unsel. Thanks for letting us know. And I'm sure you'll be able to watch this on repeat later. From Slava. Good morning, Mr. Bob. Have you ever used the following idiom, hit the sack? Yes. During my English lessons, I learned this idiom and it's printed in my brain. Yeah. So like last night around 9:30, I said to Jen, you know what? I'm tired. I might hit the sack. It simply means that you're going to go to bed. You're going to go to sleep. Okay. So you could say at work, you know, I hit the sack at 10 o'clock last night after I watched the hockey game and I had trouble falling asleep. Let's see here from Fabian. Hello, dear, incredible, spectacular, and incomparable teacher Bob. Thank you for your time and for teaching us. No problem. I'm happy to learn many English idioms. Greetings. Well, it's good to have you here, Fabian, and thank you for being enthusiastic as an English learner. Judith, hi, Bob. Can a food would you call quirky, like soup, a main meal, or dessert? Thank you. You probably wouldn't use the word quirky to describe food. You would probably use it to describe like maybe how the table was set up in a quirky way, like all the plates were upside down and you know what I mean? Like food itself, you probably wouldn't say is quirky, but it might be related to how the person set up the table or something like that. Let me get a sip of water here. One more question and we'll get back to the lesson. From Know That. I know that. Hello, Bob. I'm not sure if someone's already asked you this, but out of all the fun, quirky idioms, which is your favorite and which one do you think you use the most? Thanks. Let me see here. the next one, the one coming up, sometimes I use. It's live a little. I'm trying to think. They're all really common. Most of these I've heard in the news or I've heard someone at work. To be in hot water might be one that I've heard a lot recently for reasons I can't describe. Okay, let's get back to the lesson. Let me get a sip of water here and we will continue on. By the way, hi, know that. Good to see you. Here we go. Live a little. Used to encourage someone to do something fun. So let's say some of your friends want to go skydiving. They want to go in a plane and put on parachutes and jump out of the plane and float to the ground. And you say, no, I don't want to do that. They might say, hey, come on, live a little. It basically means relax. Don't be so worried. Don't be so anxious. Live a little. Come with us and do this fun thing. Or if my friends said, hey, we're going to see a movie Friday night. And if I said, no, I have to work Friday night, I'm really busy. They might say, Bob, live a little. Take a bit of time off work and come and see a movie with us. So it basically means do something fun. Do something enjoyable. You will not regret it. Live a little. Live a little. Take an English test. Challenge yourself. A piece of cake. This one, I think everyone should know. I think this is taught as one of your very first idioms. When you say something is a piece of cake, it simply means that it's very, very easy. If you gave me this puzzle, it would be a piece of cake for me. This is a 9-piece puzzle of a giraffe with a little butterfly in the corner and some flowers. I should be able to do this puzzle in less than 10 seconds. It should be a piece of cake for me. It should be very, very easy. To throw someone under the bus is to lay blame on someone, sometimes to save yourself. So this is another phrase that I heard recently in the news. They were talking about how in the US government, one person had decided to throw someone else under the bus. They basically had decided to say, no, I'm not the bad person here. That person is the bad person. So it's when you lay blame on someone else, sometimes to make yourself look good. Like, no, I didn't eat the cookie, but I know who did. It was Jim. I'm going to throw Jim under the bus by telling Jen that Jim ate the cookie. If you think about the phrase, though, it's kind of a weird phrase. Like, you would never actually throw someone under a bus. That's incredibly dangerous. But we use this to describe a situation where you basically lay blame on someone else. Back to the drawing board to start something again after failure. Let's say you started a new business and you didn't sell anything the first day and you didn't sell anything the second day. You would need to go back to the drawing board. You would need to think about, why is this not working? Why are people not buying my things? You need to go back. You might have an actual drawing board, like this person has Post-it notes. You might have a whiteboard. You might not, okay? It might just be you sitting in a chair under a tree thinking how to fix your business. But when you say it's time to go back to the drawing board, it usually means to start something again after it has failed. Let's say I teach a lesson today and the students don't listen and they don't enjoy it and they don't learn anything. I would need to go back to the drawing board to make the lesson better. Out of the blue. When things happen out of the blue, they happen unexpectedly. Okay. So you could say Ed Sheeran released a new album out of the blue. No one knew it was coming. And then out of the blue, he announced a new album. I don't think he did, though, but I think Harry Styles announced a new album and Noah Kahan did. I'm not sure if it was out of the blue, but the reason I put this picture here is because in Ontario, Canada, sometimes a deer will run across the road out of the blue. You're just driving along, listening to music, and it's usually at night, and suddenly a deer will run across, or 2 or 3, out of the blue. Unexpectedly, they will suddenly cross the road. It's very, very dangerous. You need to always be on the lookout. There's another phrase for you, for deer when you drive in my part of the world. To jump the gun. Now, this, I think, is probably from racing when they had a starter pistol. It's to start or act too early. So you see here, Robin is starting to sing "We Wish You a Merry Christmas." And then Batman is like basically saying, stop it. It's November. You're jumping the gun. It's too early to sing a Christmas song. So when you jump the gun, you start too early. Sometimes in class, I start teaching and then the bell goes 2 minutes later. And in that situation, for some reason, I jumped the gun. I started before I was supposed to start. So to jump the gun, to start or act too early. And I think it's from like a false start in a race. So when someone starts running before the starter pistol goes off. To jump the gun, to start or act too early. To kick the bucket, I taught this in a lesson earlier, I think about half a year ago, on phrases with the word kick. And this is simply a very informal way to say someone or to say an animal, for instance, has died. You know, my horse is going to kick the bucket. So maybe your horse is really, really old. Your horse is not very, very healthy. Your horse has not been eating an apple a day. Sorry, I shouldn't joke around. And you say to your friend, you know what? I think my horse is going to kick the bucket. And you can use this to informally talk about people as well. The polite way to speak about death is to say he passed away or he died. And the informal, like not nice way would be to say he kicked the bucket. We don't often use that to talk about people, but some people will, in a very rude way, might do that because humans sometimes aren't very sensitive. So the ball is in your court means it's your turn to decide or act. Let's say you watch an English lesson from me. Now the ball is in your court. Are you going to write down the vocabulary words? Are you going to watch it a second time to help remember things? Are you going to use the words that you learned in your next English conversation? The ball is in your court. Sorry, I made a little contraction there. The ball is in your court. It's your turn to decide or act. I've done what I need to do. Now you need to do something. The ball is in your court. To cost an arm and a leg. I hope Gucci isn't annoyed that I used one of their products for this photo. But when something costs an arm and a leg, it's very, very expensive. So it simply means that it's more money than you thought it was going to be, and it was more expensive than you would normally expect it to be. The other day I went to buy milk and it costs an arm and a leg because milk has gotten a little bit expensive here in Ontario, Canada. So to cost an arm and a leg, to be very, very expensive. And I should go back here. The ball is in your court. It must be from like a game of tennis. Once I hit the ball over the net, the ball's now on your side of the court. So we've taken this phrase to mean that it's your turn to do something. And then to cost an arm and a leg simply means in a very gruesome way. I'm not sure if you know the word gruesome, but it means like violent or not very nice. Like apparently you had to give your arm and your leg in order to buy something. It was so expensive. It seemed that way. To be under the weather, to feel a little bit sick. I actually heard someone in my family say this today, that they were feeling under the weather. It doesn't mean you're totally sick. I usually use this phrase when I think I'm getting sick. The most common way for me to use it is to say, I'm feeling a little bit under the weather. You might also say, I'm not feeling 100%. I don't feel great today. I feel like I'm getting sick. I am a little bit under the weather. So if a friend called and said, do you want to go to a movie tonight? I might say, you know what? I'm feeling a bit under the weather. I might just stay home instead. To break the ice, to make people feel more comfortable. If you go to a work event or if you go to a party where you don't know people, they might try to do some icebreaker games in order to break the ice. So this is what you do to make people feel more comfortable. You may have played this game before where you have a word on your forehead and you don't know what the word is. And other people, you can ask questions like, am I famous? Am I a man or a woman? And then you're trying to guess the name that's on your forehead. It's called an icebreaker game. You play it to break the ice, to make people laugh and do something fun and enjoyable, so that they, I think, just become a little more relaxed at the event. This is pretty common the first couple days of school. We're always trying to break the ice, to get students to enjoy their classes and to enjoy talking to each other. To cut corners. So this is to do something the cheap or lazy way. So if you see here, this is pollution, and this shouldn't be going straight into the river, but this company has decided to cut corners. Instead of paying to process their waste, their pollution, they're just putting it in the river. They've decided to do something the cheap or lazy way, or even illegal way. Sometimes it's illegal to cut corners as well. But yes, when you cut corners, you do something the cheap or lazy way, not the right way, not the proper way. But hey, let's do some questions here. Let's do members only. Let me get that turned on. I feel like my chair's a little squeaky today. I should probably at some point, I actually put a little bit of oil on it recently, but at some point I should just get a new chair, shouldn't I? That would probably be the best thing to do. So what are we doing right now? We are doing members only chat. If you are a member, first of all, thank you. You may ask questions directly in the chat and I will answer them for the next 10 minutes. I will also continue to answer questions from the form. So if you submitted a question, I'll get to that as well. And I do want to just say this. Thank you for being members. I think most members enjoy what perks they get. Some of the perks are the ones that I'm consistent at are an extra video on Wednesdays called Wednesdays with Bob, a lesson plan on Monday mornings called Week at a Glance, where I challenge you to do some things during the week. You also get your name in green during a live stream with a small crown, and you get to participate in members only chat. I have in the past done other things for members, but those are the ones that consistently do happen. There is a Wednesdays with Bob video almost every Wednesday of the year, about 45 times a year. And there is a Week at a Glance lesson plan about 45 times a year as well every Monday morning. So thank you to all of you who are members. If you're wondering what happens to membership funds, well, recently I have expanded the Wi-Fi at our home so that we can do more stuff outside. I have bought another camera, a DJI Action 6, which I'm really enjoying using. And I also bought a drone recently. So you've seen some drone footage in some of the videos. I hope to find ways to use that more. So thank you for supporting the channel. You allow me to do cool things. If you're interested in being a member, there is a link in the description below, or somewhere around here, there is a join button or subscribe plus button. But yeah, let's get to the actual questions. Here we go. I'll do one from the queue. From, I think is that Siobhan or Sabin? Hello, Bob. Do idioms ever expire? Thank you a million, or thanks a million. Yes. Like, there's some idioms where when I hear them, it's usually my mom saying it or an older person. It's hard to say. Like, an apple a day keeps the doctor away is probably an older one. It's raining cats and dogs. You sometimes hear, but it's an older idiom. So they don't totally expire, but they do get used less and less. Okay. Sai Sandy says, I heard live a little from a movie. The man is encouraging his friend to drink wine. Is this common in real life? Yeah, like on that exact example, I'm sure does happen, but it is common for people to say, hey, let's take 3 weeks off work and go to Iceland. And then someone says, I can't afford it. Someone might say, oh, come on, live a little, or you only live once, or those kinds of phrases. From Know That in the chat, hey, Bob, you might have already mentioned it, Bob, but is there a live stream tomorrow as well? Yes, 10 a.m. tomorrow, Eastern Standard Time, there will be a live stream, Q&A lesson. It will be in this room. I will hopefully have a beautiful view of the outdoors. I will not be doing it outside because it was, let me see here. It was minus 19 last night. Tomorrow it's going to be minus 12 Celsius. Minus 18 tonight, minus 12 tomorrow, minus 21 tomorrow night. So yeah, I'm not going to be doing live stream memberships outside or live streams outside. Sorry, I got confused there because Know That has gifted 5 memberships. Thank you very much, Know That, for doing that. That is awesome. If you are Lucy, Cancer Steak, Ogun, Kolak, Rebecca, there's Brent in the middle of it. Hi, Brent. Omarunlu, you have received a gift membership. If you go to the posts or community section of my YouTube channel, you will see all of the members only posts now. So enjoy for the next 30 days. And I should do that too. I was going to do that. What was I going to do? I think I'm clicking I'm in the wrong screen here. Let me go to this screen. Let me go there. There it is. I will do 1 gift membership as I do every week, or try to remember to do every week. Maybe tomorrow I'll do a few more. Yeah, let's do that. So tomorrow I'll do 5 gift memberships during the live stream, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But right now, Brent has sent a membership. Thanks, Brent, for that. And I sent a membership. So if you are Yen Daisy, you got a free gift membership. And if you are Saidet, you got a free gift membership. Again, if you go to the posts or community section of my YouTube channel, you'll now see all of the posts. Okay, let me get back to, got to scroll back here and find the questions. Yes, there is a live stream tomorrow. Dipper says, cool. Bridget says, know that you spilled the beans. Yeah, it was not a secret live stream, but John Wedge says, hi, Bob, I'm back. No questions today. I'm glad to be feeling better and to be here on the live stream today. I had a really bad bout of vertigo after getting food poisoning. That is not fun. Food poisoning is the worst way to get sick because it's fast and immediate and not very nice. Mr. Fisheri, hopefully Bob can fix the kink on that chair. Speaking of quirky, seems to be the word of the day today. Yes. Do you hear this? Let me see. That's probably annoying, isn't it? Let me see what it sounds like. I'm going to listen to it myself. I'm just waiting to, there's a slight delay and I want to hear how bad the chair is. It's not too bad. Kind of sounds like just a little click in the background. There it went again. But yes, I should maybe think of using a different chair at some point. Gift memberships. Know that. What subjects are you teaching today, Bob? I am teaching French and then business computing. By the way, have they changed again with the new semester? A heartfelt thank you. Yes. So I'm teaching in the afternoons. So I will be a lot more relaxed on Friday mornings. I don't start teaching until 12:30, but I do need to be at work at around 10:30, quarter to 11. It's kind of flexible, but that's what I will be teaching today. Let's see here. Key Park. Hey, Bob. Hi, Bob. I don't get the point of to hit the nail on the head, literally. Tell me more, please. I think it simply means you got the right answer, or you are correct, or that's right. And it comes from like when you're hammering a nail, sometimes you miss the nail, but sometimes you hit the nail. So when you hit the nail, that's a good thing. So if you say you hit the nail on the head, it means you got the right answer. That's a good thing. No, that says, nice haircut, Bob. With the temperatures outside, I guess you'll have to wear your winter hat all the time now, though. Yes, but I like short hair with a winter hat because your hair doesn't get messed up. So it's easier to put a toque on or a winter hat on and take it off. Bridget says hello to Brent. Jose says, is bunny hug commonly used in Ontario? How about going out for a rip? I don't know about the first one, but if someone drove their snowmobile up to my house, they might say, hey, you want to take it for a rip? Or you want to take it for a drive, basically. So I have heard that one. From Freddie Wolf. One day, out of the blue, a fox crossed the route in front of the wolf's car. I hit it. My bumper remembers that, even though it has been fixed. Nevertheless, I haven't gotten any news from the fox. Yeah, out of the blue. Sometimes out of the blue, animals will run across the road. Let me see here. John Wedge is saying kink, kink, kink. Sometimes, yeah, I'm going to leave that word alone. No, that says, by the way, Jen is really getting things going on her channel with the member shorts and the other idea she's thinking about. Yes, Jen is enjoying winter is a time to learn. So the same way in the summer, I usually start learning and doing new things with my YouTube channel. Jen has the opposite. In the winter, she enjoys learning and doing new things. No, that says, I think, though, she'll probably have to put some of them on the back burner during the peak season, which is understandable, but I really love the new content. So part of the reason why we expanded the Wi-Fi on the farm is to simplify Jen being able to post members-only shorts and things like that from the flower field. So we'll see how that goes. It's nice to see how comfortable she's become with her work on YouTube. She really, really enjoys it. And we enjoy it too, because it's this nice... It's a record of every farming year, so it's really cool. Freddie Wolf, Bob, could I say eccentric instead of quirky? Sort of. Although eccentric we usually use for an older person, like he's getting old and a bit eccentric. Hi to Brent. Let's see. Yes, thanks, Brent. Looking up kink, be careful. Yes, that's why I'm avoiding that word. It has different meanings and connotations. So cautious, be cautious, not safe for work to look up that word. Key Park, hit the head of the nail. Got it. Yes, exactly. Know that you look good even with messy hair. Thank you very much. Although my hair is less cooperative than it was if I tried to grow my hair longer, I think it would just grow in all different directions now. From Namsu, hi teacher Bob. I always impressed by your English class. Little fix there. Thanks, Bob. I'm Korean and nearly the late 60s. Whoa. I'm always motivated by your enthusiasm. Little fix. If possible, I'd like to see more real English talk. Gotcha. Live stream tomorrow. You should come. Freddie, in French, Bob, une pomme le matin est loin le médecin. Une pomme le soir donne l'espoir. Oh. That's a better poem or saying, definitely. So an apple in the morning keeps the doctor away. An apple at night gives you hope. Very nice. And know that says, thanks for answering my questions. No problem. I am going to get back to the lesson. I will get back to the form questions at the end. And we'll go there. Jose says, please make a Learn French channel, Bob. You've got such a great talent, the best teacher. You know, there's only so much time in a day. There's only so many days in a week, and I simply do not have time to do something like that. So sorry. Okay, members only chat. I need to turn that off. We'll go back to subscribers. I remembered to do that. Let me just double check the members. Ismail says, Bob, is double only used at Tim Hortons for Canadians? Could you explain how it's used there and whether people in Quebec understand it the same way? Thanks. I'm not sure if they say double. Double is when you want 2 creams and 2 sugars in your coffee. So if you say I'll have a large double, it means you want a coffee and you want them to put like about 2 teaspoons of cream in and 2 teaspoons of sugar. Depending on where you go, it could be a little different. American English with Brent says, I'm glad that Bob is back to making lessons on a short channel. Oh yeah, I should have mentioned that. I put out 2, one last Saturday and one this past Wednesday. I'm planning to do 1 each week. If you don't know what Brent is talking about, let me find a link for you. I have a channel called Bob's Short English Lessons, and I put that channel on pause earlier this year because, well, for a couple reasons. My second channel, here we go. I'll put that in the chat. One is I had an injury that was healing, and 2, my semester at school was busy in a different way. So if you are interested, there will be probably 1 video a week. I don't think I'll do 2 on that channel, and I speak a little quicker. I teach a couple phrases. I think it's enjoyable for most people. Okay. Thanks for reminding me about that, Brent. Let's go back to slides. To bite off more than you can chew. means to try to do too much. I sometimes do this. Some of you are aware that I do this. It usually happens in the summer. I get very excited to do lots of new things. And then when the school year starts, I'm too busy to keep doing some of it. So sometimes I bite off more than I can chew. So you can see what this means. If you're eating something and you take a really big bite, it might be too much food to be able to chew. But the real meaning of the phrase is to try and do too much. You know, my boss is always biting off more than he can chew. It's not very enjoyable working there because of that. To sweep it under the rug, to hide a problem. I could only find a literal picture of someone sweeping stuff under the rug, but you can use this in any situation where you want to hide a problem. If, for instance, I was a politician and I had done bad things, I might try to sweep those things under the rug so no one knows about them. I'm trying to hide things. Let's say I spent all the money. I'm the mayor of a town and I spent all the money on a big party. I might try to sweep that under the rug. I might try to hide it from other people so they don't know that I wasted the money. Once in a blue moon means very rarely. So if you are familiar with how the calendar works, February 29 only comes along once in a blue moon. So we have a leap year every 4 years. The Olympics happen once in a blue moon, but they're actually happening starting today. I probably should have done a lesson on the Winter Olympics, but I'm planning to do that next week, Friday, maybe. I have done a lesson on that in the past, but once in a blue moon simply means very rarely. To walk on eggshells, this is a common phrase. To be very careful not to upset someone. Maybe you have a relative. Let's imagine you have a relative who gets angry very easily. And when you go to their house, you walk on eggshells. You try to be very careful about what you say and what you do and how much noise you make because you don't want them to get angry. There are some people in the world who get angry very easily. And when you're around them, it's probably a good idea to walk on eggshells, to be very careful not to upset someone. I feel like in this picture, the boss is getting annoyed and the workers are all trying to be helpful and kind. They're probably walking on eggshells. They're being very careful because they don't want to upset the boss further. To have your hands full. Hey, this is the same person. Yes. Oh, here she has bit off more than she can chew. Here she has her hands full. To be very busy. Jen and I have 5 children. When we were younger, we had 1 child and then we had 2 children. When we had our 3rd child, we had our hands full. When we had our 4th child, we really had our hands full. And when we had 5, we certainly had our hands full. It simply means that we were very, very busy as parents. At work, if your boss keeps giving you jobs to do, you might eventually say, look, I have my hands full, boss. I can't do anymore. I need to finish these 12 things before I can do something new. So to have your hands full, to be very, very busy. To be in hot water means to be in trouble. Let's say Jim, this is Jim right here. Jim has come to work late every day of the week for 2 weeks straight. He is in hot water. He is in trouble. The boss is not happy. If you at work keep breaking things, you're going to be in hot water. You're going to be in trouble. Your boss is eventually going to say, stop breaking things. That's not good. Or stop coming in late for work. Sometimes this happens with students. They come to class late for 2 or 3 days in a row, and then they're in hot water because they have to go talk to the principal, and they need to explain why that is happening. To play it by ear, to do something without a plan. I couldn't find a great picture for this, so I found a picture of someone throwing darts at a map. When you play it by ear, it simply means that you are going to figure it out as it happens. Sometimes the first day of school, I have a plan, but I also need to be ready to play it by ear because things might change. The first day is somewhat chaotic. The first day of school, students sometimes join my class, but also leave my class because they've chosen a different class. So sometimes I have a plan, but sometimes I just need to play it by ear. I need to figure things out in the moment as they're happening, so that things go smoothly. To keep your fingers crossed. This is actually the only one that's literal. Most people actually cross their fingers, and it's to hope for something to go well. If you were opening a brand new store tomorrow, you are going to sell things in your store. You could say to someone, I hope lots of customers come tomorrow, so I'm going to keep my fingers crossed. Or keep your fingers crossed that lots of people do show up. And people will often do that. They'll cross their fingers as they are trying to bring good luck or good fortune to whatever it is they're trying to do. To get the ball rolling is to get something started. So a good example of this would be this morning. I said to Jen, oh, it's 8:25. I better get the ball rolling. So I better get started on my live stream. Sometimes when you go to a meeting, people are talking, and the person running the meeting might say, okay, let's get the ball rolling. Let's start talking about item number 1 on the agenda. So to get the ball rolling, to get something started. Hey, let's look at some questions. Freddie Wolf says, Jim must have large shoulders today, so he may be able to carry all of them quirky idioms. I should stop using the name Jim. I actually know a Jim. Hopefully the Jim I know doesn't watch, because I'm not talking about that person. Nam Sujang says, I traveled to northern Canada called Whitehorse. I was very impressed about they treat their sled dogs sincerely. Yes, that far north is a different way of living. Mr. Fischeri, feels nice to be in hot water like in a spa. Haha, I'm using that wrong. Yes. It's definitely nice to sit in hot water when you choose to do it, like in a bath or a hot tub, for sure. Okay, let me finish off these questions. Wait, did I skip one? Let me go previous. Oh yeah, we did that one, I think. Kuzo, excuse me, Teacher Bob, are today's idioms allowed in a formal English speaking or writing test? Yes, I would think they would be fine, depending on what part of the test you are in. If I was in the conversation part of a test where I was speaking and they were evaluating my English speaking, I would certainly use these. Like when I did a French conversation test, they were asking me about whether is it expensive for university students to pay for a place to live? And you could use phrases like, you want to make sure you rent a place where they didn't cut corners. Or the universities have basically said the ball's in your court. You need to find your own place. So yes, I would say for sure, although use them correctly. The worst thing you can do as an English learner is to use idioms incorrectly. Not the worst thing, okay, but it's just, it will immediately sound off. That would be how I would say it. Jean says, or Jean, here in my country, we often use the expression the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room is like the thing no one wants to talk about, but it's completely obvious. From Judith, hi Bob, do you remember any funny story in your life? Not at the moment, although I did trip over the garbage can in my classroom while the principal was observing me, my first year of teaching. The principal, my boss, came to my classroom to observe my teaching, to make sure I was doing a good job, and I tripped over the garbage can. So there's one small funny story. From Lahua, hello Bob. Sometimes I am very confused of these words. Idiom, slang, proverb, saying, jargon. Could you explain? Thanks. So they're all phrases. Idioms are generally word phrases where they almost tell like a little story, but they kind of have a different meaning. Like when you say, hold your horses, you imagine someone holding onto a horse, but that's not the meaning. Slang is simply new words or invented words that eventually become normal. Proverbs and sayings, like an apple a day keeps the doctor away, is more of a saying or a proverb. That's how I would describe it. And then jargon is usually vocabulary associated with a specific area. So I know a lot about computers, so I know a lot of computer jargon. Let's see. So this has come up before. Judith says, love you, Bob, sir. Just a request if you can add images option with questions in the forms, please. I'm a little worried about this. Like, I'm not worried about bad images because I can filter them out, but I don't know how that would work for copyright. So all of the images I use are from a service that I pay for. So all of the pictures that you see in my lessons are from a website where I pay a subscription to be allowed to use them. And I would be worried about getting pictures that aren't in that category. Kind of Quicklist says, so dad jokes use idioms? Not really. Idioms can be funny, but not necessarily. From Dipper, hi Bob, I'm kind of curious that are there any stories or legends behind these idioms? They all have a literal meaning. Like if you use the words literally, I tend to not talk about it too much because I don't want to confuse all of you. Like the meaning is the meaning I explained. So, from my name is Aloysius. Hey Bob, you're a native English speaker. How do you absorb new idioms and slang and use them naturally in communication? I really appreciate your help. So I am lucky because I work in a high school. So I work with students who are between the age of 13 to 18, and they are the ones who most likely will use new slang. And then I will hear that. So the most recent one, the last year or so is fire. Oh, that's fire, which means something is very, very cool or awesome. Let me look that up. Meaning of that's fire. And these things travel around. It's a modern slang meaning something is excellent, amazing, or impressive. Wow, that song is fire. Or wow, your new outfit is fire. So those are the examples from the internet. So I learned them from students. If I didn't work in a high school, I don't think I would learn them as quickly. I would have to learn them from TV or television shows. From Hasham. Hi, Bob, sir. No questions today. Can you share us your old picture as a teenager guy? I will look for one. I'm much thinner back then. From Aaron. How's it going, Bob? Are American idioms and slang different from Canadian ones, or are they mostly the same? I really appreciate your time. I would say they're 99% similar, and there's probably a few Canadian ones. I think the one I've used before is you can describe something as tough sledding. That probably would work as an idiom in any English-speaking country that has snow. People would understand what that means. Let's see. I think this is not the person who, okay. We're done. That's cool. That's all the questions. Let me look at the chat. There's a few things flying by here. Let's see. Gao Destrador says, pleased to meet you, Bob. Your channel show up to me the last day. I'm trying to learn English by myself. There you go. I believe I can get by in English, but I'm just a beginner level, maybe A1 or A2. Good. That's awesome. Know that says, thanks for the awesome lesson and your time, Bob. It was a pleasure to spend some time with you. As always, wishing you a lovely Friday. See you tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, there will be a live question and answer English lesson. Mr. Fischeri is pointing it out. Live stream Q&A tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. See you great folks there. Have the greatest day. Bye-bye all. So we're inventing slang right here. Let's see here. Okay. We're going to wrap this up. Next summer, the World Football Championship is going to take place partly in Canada. Will the matches be close to where you live? No, I don't know a lot, but I have a feeling it's all on the West Coast. Not sure. Okay. Anyways, bye everybody. A couple things before you go. Number one, this lesson will come out in a shorter version that you should re-listen to or rewatch in a couple of days. Whenever you use repetition, as I mentioned in my last lesson, it is good for your memory. It's good for remembering things. If you want to just listen to it, you can also find it on Spotify. If you check out Spotify and just search for Bob the Canadian, you will find almost all of my stuff now because Spotify is very generous. So I thought I would start putting things there as well. So just search for Bob the Canadian on Spotify and you should find it. So do rewatch it. Number two, there is a live Q&A lesson tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be sitting right here. I will have a camera facing outside so you can see the beautiful winter weather. I hope you enjoy it. Ice Cube says, if I only discover you sooner, your content is helpful though. Well, I'm glad you found me. Tell your friends. I should probably, so that's one thing I have not done well as a YouTuber. I have not encouraged people to tell other people about my channel. If you would like, please tell other people about my YouTube channel. Encourage them to use my videos to learn English. I would very much appreciate it. And if you can't think of anyone, just give me a thumbs up because that helps as well. Okay, leave a comment, subscribe, enjoy your day. See you tomorrow. You guys are awesome. And I think that's it. Now I have to have a little bit of breakfast and go to work. So bye.